Yeah, I got it. Hey, you got a bite there.
You got a bite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of dogs.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to another exciting episode, and it is going to be an exciting episode of Safari Classics TV. And I talk about what makes a good safari. A lot of different things: the game you're hunting, the people you're hunting with, the destination that you're going to, and all three of those are going to come into play today. And let's just go ahead and get this hunt kicked off and introduce our guests on this, and they are. Guys, you'll probably recognize if you've been watching Safari Classics productions over the years, because both of them have been a mainstay. And, our primary guest today is Ralph Delserone. And, Ralph, I see I don't have to tell anybody that you're a pretty avid African hunter. Just one look over your shoulder is going to kind of prove that point to us. I like your trophy room.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Ralph, today we're going to join with professional hunter Keith Wall. And Keith, just enjoyed seeing you really a couple of weeks ago in Nashville at the SCI. And, Keith, you and I go back to the Chifuti Safaris days, and I just remember you coming up through the ranks. I mean, I believe you were still in your apprenticeship when you started with Chifuti, but man, it has been a pleasure to see you grow in every possible way that you can grow in this business. I can't think of very many guys in the business that it's always a pleasure to be in the field with Keith. His customers love him, and once they've hunted with him, it's just they'll come back and say, yeah, I'm doing another hunt for this or that, but I got to have Keith. And Keith, that's a real testament to you, and to that end, to prove that point, this is not going to be the first hunt that you and Ralph have ever enjoyed together.
Yeah, I know it's not the first time, Ralph, and Dave, like you said, you and I go back a long ways, and it's been an honor to be with you guys and being brought up amongst the ranks and amongst the best, and hunting with Charlton McCullum Safaris has really put me on the map. And that's good thanks to Buzz and Miles. And it's an absolute pleasure to join you guys on the show. And hey, Ralph, it's good to be with you again, Buana.
Yeah, sounds great. And we've always had success. And just to kind of join in with what Dave said, it doesn't matter what species we're after, you give it 100%. Even when I'm tired, it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You're just keeping us going, and we've always had great success. So you're my guy.
Well, before we get into today's safari, and I'll give you a tease on what it's going to be. It's going to be for Africa's apex predator, a big mature male lion. But before we go there, let's dip back into the past just a little bit. And Ralph, I'm looking over your right shoulder, and I see your right and left shoulder. Over your left shoulder, I see a big buffalo, and this was a hunt, I believe, in 2015. And you're with our friend Rex Hoots was your PH, and about to whack a big buffalo.
Going behind, wait. Just wait, there's other buffalo behind. Okay, sorry. No, you've bust his front leg. Look good.
Yeah, it was a first trip to Africa, and actually that's when I got to meet Keith, and we had some really good success at Nyakasanga, and it was a great experience.
Well, this is an awful nice bull that you're lining up on. He's about to come into the danger zone. So this is your very first safari, starting with buffalo.
Yes. And kind of snuck into position and was able to play the wind.
Well, it looked like you dropped that shot right on target.
Yeah, it didn't go too far. So
that's an exciting. I don't care if it's your first time or it's your 20th time, but especially when it's your first time. That's a pretty special moment in a hunter's life. I'm sure that's something you dreamed of for years before you actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a lot of prep, getting ready, and not knowing what to expect for the first African safari experience, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, well, that is a beautiful bull. Hey, nice and wide.
Thank you.
And that was at Nyakasanga.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, hard boss bull, beautiful. Now I'm looking over your right shoulder, and I see a big leopard that looks like he may have at one time had a Nyakasanga address. So, Keith, now you were the PH on Ralph's leopard hunt, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct, Dave. I was, eh?
Well, let's take a look at that. We'll tell the story a little quicker than I'm sure it happened, because leopard take a lot of work and a hell of a lot of time. But we're gonna, Christy will pull up this now. One of the things to know about Nyakasanga, because it is privately owned ground as opposed to, say, the Dandy Safari area, which is a government concession, you can use artificial light at night. And I've hunted Nyakasanga a bunch, and God knows, Keith, you've hunted a lot of leopards there. And so how easy or hard did this leopard come, Keith?
Dave, this leopard gave us a serious runaround, and I tell you what, we put lots of hard work into this cat, hours, days.
He's coming back. Okay, he's up feeding again. Are you ready to roll? Yeah. I just want him to feed and get comfortable. Okay, looks like he's feeding quite hard, Rob, so let's take his safety off. There, I got it now, yeah. Okay, wait for him to drop down. Just wait for him to drop down, okay?
We probably set up about 5 or 6 times for different 2 or 3 different cats, but this particular cat that Ralph and myself were after, I mean, we really focused on him because a lot of PHs were trying to get after him and failed on him, and we put in the time and effort, and we just came right. We were just blessed.
Ralph, what was your impression of the leopard hunt? Because different people, it's not a hunt that you're constantly, moving around on, unless you're, of course, when you're taking your baits, there's a daily grind of dragging, the gut bucket back and forth, to the tree. But what was your impression of a leopard hunt?
Difficult. It was a 9 or 10 day, I believe, every daily grueling, 40 miles or so, shooting bait. We had a lot of brown hyena, eating the bait, and it was a big struggle to find a mature male leopard on camera. So it was hard. It wasn't what I expected.
I tell everybody that comes in and says, I want to do a leopard hunt. It's very easy to look at you look at your trophy room, you see a nice corner and say, boy, I can just see a big, beautiful spotted cat over there, and everybody can do that. But the reality of getting them there, Keith, you'll agree with this, when it comes right with a leopard, and especially when it comes right with a leopard like you just described, Keith, that other guys have been after. I mean, and these low veld cats are not like wilderness cats. They understand human presence, and they've been hunted before, and they are they are switched on their game every day, 24/7. And when you take one of those, that's, Keith, I don't know, that's got to rate pretty high towards the top end of a difficulty scale in Africa.
I 100% agree with you, Dave. These Nunetsi cats are absolute monsters, and they don't be monsters for nothing. I'll tell you what, like you said, they've been hunted. They know the plan. They are so clever. So to outsmart a cat of that caliber, I'll tell you what, and the time and patience, it is worth every moment when it comes to the time when you pull that trigger.
Well, obviously, you guys played that game out to the very end, and you played it damn well. And the proof in the pudding's, like I said, right over Ralph's shoulder back there. So, Ralph, when you talk about big game, it doesn't come any bigger in Africa than elephant. And you were also going to have I believe, a non-trophy elephant bull tag at Nyakasanga. And you and Keith were going to try to find a right age class and tusk class elephant to take, and it looked like you found him.
Yeah, it took us a couple of days, but we came upon this elephant and kind of got in position along this trail area here and tried to get as close as we could get. And then Keith got the stick set up, and I had that's with my double there, my 470, and got a good shot. I was sweating the shot on that one too, but got a good shot, and it was another successful hunt with Keith.
Boy, that's a classic frontal brain shot, and it may look easy looking at that on the screen, but that's like you said, that's a pressurized shot, and to place that, you got to drive that bullet through a lot of skin and a couple of feet of bone to reach the brain at that point, and you literally could not have shot him any more dead center for frontal brain. And that's not an easy shot, man. That was very well done.
Yeah, I was glad it worked out well, and the elephant fed a lot of people, so it was a good deal all around.
So now we jump from 2018 to 2025, and Ralph, you're back in Africa, and you're after a line, and it can be debated. Different people say this is the top trophy, that's the top trophy, but there's a big bucket full of people that will put a big mature line as the very top end trophy on their wish list. So tell me how you came to that decision.
Well, I always wanted to hunt a mature wild lion, and the opportunity became available on short notice. So I always stay in comms with Keith. He's my PH, but also I consider a good friend and my expert on Africa. And he said this opportunity presented itself with the quota still available. And he said, if you could get here, so it was a short notice, but I moved some things around and was able to make it over to Zimbabwe, to Nyakasanga. So no regrets.
I was going to say, this is not in Nyakasanga. So Keith, kind of walk us through the ground that we're going to be hunting this line in.
So this is in our lower Zambezi valley, where it's a park. It's called Nyakasanga. It borders Mana Pools National Park. But it is one of the most pristine hunting areas in Zimbabwe. And I tell you what, if you can hunt anywhere here in Zimbabwe, that'll be one of the places I would highly recommend. And for the lion hunt especially, the amount of cats that move there and the opportunities, it's an opportunity that no one should miss. I reckon if it comes, you take it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
You know, I've been in a lot of good line areas in a lot of Africa, but I don't, as just far as how many lines are in, you know, that area. I mean, that's got to be one of the highest concentration of lines, certainly in Zimbabwe, but maybe in all of Africa. Keith, your thoughts?
I fully agree with you, Dave. I mean, I've hunted there multiple times, as you said, and
Sure.
I have, and amongst other PHs, have multiple lines on bait. And I mean, I can remember as far as back as 23, having 19 male lions on bait. Okay, not all of them were mature,
Sure.
but 19 males, and obviously a whole bunch of lionesses as well. But yeah, they've got a pretty high population, and it's a tough one to compete with there. Hey, the amount of the wildlife there, they can sustain it.
Well, when you flew in, Ralph, I noticed y'all took the scenic ride to camp. You got to go up the Zambezi, and that's a pretty nice drive. When you get off that airplane, that's a pretty beautiful drive into a beautiful camp to go up the Zambezi. And we need to say that your son Ben was accompanying you on this trip, and Ben was going to be that was his first safari, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my future son-in-law.
Oh, son-in-law. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, son-in-law. And I said, hey, and he's a hunter. And I said, hey, Ben, I'm going to Africa. If you could get off. And he's from a family of hunters. So they said, hey, go. You're not going to have, I said, Ben, this is going to be the solid, a solid wild Africa for a first safari, which I think is important. So he got it cleared with his family, and so he came along, and he was in awe. So
well, I would say Ben hit the Powerball lottery when he got you for a father-in-law.
Straight.
Because I've been through 2 father-in-laws, and neither one of them did anything like that for me. I can tell you. So good for him. So okay, I thought that was your son, but it's your son-in-law, and that's really a great thing to give him, what could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do that, but pretty good bonding experience. And you can tell, and you'll see before it's over, it looked like he just drained every drop of joy out of the safari experience from first day to last. You could tell he really enjoyed what he was doing. So Keith, you guys get into camp, and why don't you just lay out your battle plan for this hunt?
Well, the battle plan is obviously to get bait as quick as possible, Dave. And fortunately for us, the guys that are hunting, we caught them at the tail and has shot a tuskless, a cow, which gave us 4 baits to give us a leg up, which is a massive help. So the most key thing in any cat hunt, as you know, whether it's lion or leopard, is bait. So the game plan was bait. We're lucky we had 4 baits from the tuskless, and we were in the game from the beginning.
Is your bait run smaller in size or about the same?
Dave, it's about the same. It
Okay.
just depends on where you're baiting, but it's about the same. It's about the same as Dandy, yeah.
So obviously you've got 2 things that you're considering, and that's your past knowledge of the area, and even particular cats that you've seen before in the area. And maybe there were a couple of years ago where they were, 4-year-old cats, but now they're going to be 6 or 7-year-old cats. And the older they get, the more territorial they become.
Yeah, that's correct, Dave. It's all based on past knowledge, intel from other PHs that we work together with, where they have seen other cats moving, and they pass it on to us as well. We share it with each other, but also where we've seen big cats moving. So we tend to concentrate on where the cats are moving, where they've been seen, and we just generally just work on those baits out. So we normally put between 4 to 6 baits out for lion there, and it seems to work pretty well. Otherwise, if you stretch it out too far, you're just going to be chasing your tail.
One of the things that Keith didn't mention was, for me, this is Zimbabwe in October. So it's hot. It's 100 degrees plus. So I'm dying in the heat because I'm not used to that heat. And Keith's laughing, but it was getting really hot. So, but we were fortunate to have those elephant legs hanging to get some cats going.
Well, even though your hunt was in September, I mean, you're close enough to October. And you know what they call October in the valley? That's the suicide month.
Yeah.
That's what the old bush hands used to call it. Because that is intense. But it's good hunting as well, for a lot of different reasons.
Yep.
So Keith, pretty early into this, if I remember right, you found a big track and you looked at it and said, I don't know what his mane looks like, but if it matches his feet, this is a line we need to get a look at.
Yeah, that's correct, Dave. Yeah, we found actually 2 or 3 tracks, but the one track in particular, going up towards the west of the area, we found an absolute massive track, and there's a big gap there. I said to Ralph, this is something that we needed to work on, which we did, and we put up a bait there. So, yeah.
Well, and that was pretty near a water pan, yeah? The one, because we're going to look at a piece of footage here in a minute that I thought was a really cool interaction of 2 of Africa's other predators, kind of giving each other the business.
Hey, bite there. Yeah, there's a lot of dogs.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Did you get that, John?
Yeah, I got it.
That's awesome.
Hey, you got a bite there.
You got a bite?
Yeah.
Let me get closer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see, and to get that close to the wild dogs. A lot of people don't get to experience that. So in getting real close to them, that was really cool. But yeah, they gave them a little run there and a couple of nips. So that was pretty interesting to see.
Well, they gave him a send off, to be sure. So Keith, so from here you've got the baits up. Now it did not take you long to get some hits.
No, Dave, we were actually pretty fortunate. The first night we had that cat feed. In fact, there was actually two males feeding, a young male and another big male with him. So we are pretty fortunate the first night. We are very lucky.
So did you build a blind? Obviously, yeah, if you had him hit, you instantly put up a blind.
Correct, Dave. Yeah, we did put up a blind the next morning, and we actually sat that evening. But obviously, being in a safari area, we can't use artificial light, so we lost light when we had to get out. We got back in the blind the next morning, but yeah, cat and mouse. You know how it goes with cats, eh?
Well, Keith, it's interesting. We always talk about the bait tree, but sometimes what we don't talk about enough is, the professional hunter's game plan on getting within shooting range, because you know where you're going to put the bait, but you've got to decide how you're going to be, where you're going to be.
Yeah, that is correct, Dave. So normally we have that my blind set up within 40 yards of the bait, just depending on where it is. But the approach is the absolute key part. You don't want to be seen by the cat coming into the blind. The wind is also just as crucial. You want that wind blowing into your face. So I pretty much figured out which direction I'll take. There was quite a bit of a blind rise behind where we had our blind. So yeah, we just put up a blind, and we came in from behind with lots of brush, and we pretty much had it figured out. So pretty easy when you can get it down.
But Now I think it was another bait, but Ralph, you tell me. You got on one of your baits, because even when you got hot bait, you're consistently, you got trail cams on every one of your baits doing your intel for you. But Ralph, y'all got on one bait that had a ton of lionesses on it.
Yeah, they kind of it was, I believe it was another water pan area, close to water pan, and they kind of came in. I think it was maybe eight female lion, decimated the bait pretty good, and one of Keith's trail cameras just snapped it right in half. So it's pretty interesting. So we were getting a lot of lion action and just looking for that mature male.
So you said earlier, and we had trail cam pictures, that this big male that you were kind of targeting was running with another younger cat.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw that cat on the trail cam for the first time, Ralph, what was your impression?
Wow, just you could tell the size, that it was mature. But again, it goes back to what you were saying, that Keith is very meticulous and conscientious about the age class, targeting only a mature male lion. So again, a lot of double checking and reviewing the footage, but you could just tell by the maturity and how much bigger it was than the other lion that we had on camera. But wow. Keith's double, triple checking.
I'll tell you what, having these trail cameras have changed our hunting industry for the good. I mean, we can age the cats, and it's just for intel purposes and research purposes. It's helped hugely. It's been a huge game changer.
Well, Ralph, just because people always ask, well, what caliber and stuff. Now, when y'all got there, and we had some footage of it, but when you and Ben arrived, you did the right thing. Obviously, it's what you do on safari, but you want to make sure that your rifles and scopes survived all the baggage handling and all the mess that can happen with them on such a long flight. And you go to the rifle range, and you were putting them right here. And Keith said, "Yeah, 2 shots. I don't need to see any more. Your bullets are touching." What caliber were you shooting?
So, and again, because normally, you plan for a safari well in advance. This time I had a month and was trying to get everything done at work and with the family. So we kind of took out 2 of my prior African guns. With it was a Kimber 375 with a Trijicon scope. Yep. And Keith said that we wanted something with illuminated reticle. And then I have a gun that I bought last year, an older CZ 550 Safari Magnum and 416 Rigby. Okay. And a Leopard scope on that with the red dot on that for low light conditions. Okay, so that's our battery for the Safari. So Keith, so now you know where this cat's at. You've got a blind in position, and now the mornings and the evenings, I mean, you're making late drives into camp. You're making ridiculously early drives out of camp to get to your bait. But and before we go right into the sequence, tell me, Keith, and I always ask guys, I'm curious, in the lines you've taken, what has been your percentage taken in the morning versus taken in the evening?
You know what, Dave, to be honest, it's been a 50-50. I've taken some in the morning and I've taken some in the evening, but a lot of my success have actually been in the morning, to be honest.
Well, let's head into what turns out to be a pretty damn good morning. So let's Keith, you and Ralph walk me through this.
yeah, what happened? We actually got into the blind that morning, and it was just that big cat that was on bait. We actually didn't see him. We just obviously got in, but no show. Um, Pulled the vehicle, got in and checked the trail camera pictures, and it actually turned out just to be him there, the big cat that we were after. And we decided to track him. And I'll tell you what a fun tracking session we had. Okay, we didn't walk a lot of the time, but he walked onto a road towards where we actually did find him.
I was thinking, how are you going to track this thing? How are you going to find this thing? And it sounds good in theory, but then it actually, it worked out, and it seemed like everything was in our favor. And we ended up seeing the tracks in the vehicle, and the trackers got on it, and then right by this water pan area close to one of our other baits. And you know, it was lucky that Keith said, hey, let's go around and let's from this walk from the bait area, let's go check this water pan, because a lot of times, you know, you might catch them just loafing during the day after eating. And I thought, oh, okay. And then we came around and they were lying there, and I was like, wow. I mean, that was pretty impressive. And trackers are pretty impressive too, and Keith's impressive.
So Keith, how far from the bait site to where we're seeing the lines right here till you contacted him? How far?
So from the first initial bait site, David, is about 5-6 kilometers.
That's a long track.
Then it is a long track, and he did beeline for a water pan, as Ralph said, where we had another bait close by to the Nyakasanga River, which is not far from that particular pan. So, yeah, 5 or 6 kilometers from the first initial bait where we started tracking, and then probably about 400 meters from where our other bait was, from that pan where we found him lying in the riverbed.
So you know, you're looking at this cat, you say that's our guy right there.
Straight off the bat, Dave. I mean, I had no doubt in my head there. I mean, obviously, like all PHs do, we sit there and just make triple, double sure that's the cat. He fits the right age criteria, and I never had one doubt in my mind. And I said to Ralph, "This is our cat, and let's take our chance. Let's take him."
Ralph, what's going through your mind right now?
What's going through my mind is now it's a waiting game. And with the positioning of the male lion with the other lions around, we couldn't risk taking a shot, but we were pretty far away. And
yeah, what's the distance?
I think we were about 157 yards roughly.
That's a long shot on a line.
And then I have 12 people sitting there watching me shoot while we're waiting. So, you know, that's going through my mind. Don't mess up this shot. You're going to have one shot, so don't screw it up. So it's like psychological.
Ralph, I'm always telling people, in your situation like this, you know how an NFL kicker must feel like when he walks out there to bang a 50-yard field goal with the Super Bowl on the line. And, you know, what does or doesn't happen right here, either way, is going to be, you're going to be the hero or it's going to be your fault. Kind of a lonely feeling.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, just telling myself, you know, lucky I did have a decent rest there, but we were able to tuck into that tree area, so that helped, but still.
Boy, it doesn't look like you could have walked up there and shot him any better than that, but, you know, you're paying the insurance right here.
Yep. Yeah, so it worked out well, and I was just, you know, waiting for Keith to give me the go-ahead, and so.
But that was your 416, yeah?
No, actually, I say it that Benny, my future son-in-law, left he's my gun bearer on this trip, and he left my 416 back at the camp. Okay. So he said, take the 375 because that's what we had, and I said, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, and do it you did. And so, Keith, that's a pretty fun walk-up right there to see something like this at the end of the trail. That's what a satisfying conclusion. That's a big line, guys.
That's definitely a trophy of a lifetime right there, Dave. I mean, just seeing that cat stone dead in his where he was lying was an absolute answer to my prayers, you know. And there was thick chests on both sides, so yeah, and it was very rewarding for all that, for all the hard work we put in, the tracking session, the amount of work my guys put into it, Ralph's time and patience, and trusting me to make the right decisions. It really paid off.
Ralph, you may hunt for a while before you top that. That's a man.
Yeah.
That's truly a safari hunter's dream.
And it always seems that, Keith, we've had, I know it's a lot of skill, like on your part and your crew and your trackers, but we got a great leopard before, one of the largest in that area, and an old mature lion on this trip. So we've had a lot of success, and everything, like you said, everything lined up. So it was great.
Lined up, pun intended.
Yeah.
Well, so now, Keith, the pressure's really off. The primary target is headed to the skinning shed. So now, I mean, you're still hunting hard, but you relax a little bit. So I think now you went on a hippo safari.
Let's keep watching. I'm watching. Yo, guys.
He's done. Just stay on him. That's him. He's done.
A lot of hippo in the area. I was really surprised because I didn't have much experience with hippo hunting. And I knew, you know, it's typically like a close shot, but it has to be a precise shot. And there's a lot of croc all around in that water. And even though it's not, in my opinion, it's a close, not difficult shot, but it's a waiting game. And again, it's well over 100 degrees. And you're standing there just waiting for the hippo to present a shot. Of course, Keith and the trackers had to get us in position, which is sometimes difficult, but we got in position, and I think it was, you know, getting set up on the sticks, but waiting for over an hour for everything to, hippo to get in position.
Well,
and then I was
when
waiting.
when you do it right, that's exactly what happens. They just sink, and it looked like you just used a perfect side brain shot on him.
Yeah, and that was with I think I took the 416 Rigby on that one, and yeah, got a good shot on, and then the hard part starts with the recovery. So.
It's an interesting process. Recovering, you don't just drive the cruiser up to them and throw them in the back. I mean, it's kind of a process. It takes, you know, especially if the hippo, you got to wait for him to float. In a big river like the Zambeze, I mean, they can float to Mozambique, but looks like you know, Keith got you in a pretty quiet little backwater area there where the current's not too bad. Sure makes recovery easier, at least. Certainly a unique trophy. Now, I think Ben early in the hunt had taken an impala. He got his first African trophy. He shot a really nice impala ram, and so he had that in the bag. And now it's going to be Mr. Ben's turn to go after a hippo. Keith, walk us through this.
I tell you what, Dave, this is actually one of the most exciting hippo hunts we did. I did last year, and as you know, to find a hippo on land, shooting on land, especially on the Zambezi River, is not very easy, especially Nyakasanga side. So we were just very fortunate, and by chance, we found we had seen this pot of hippo a couple of days there all the time, and by chance, actually saw this hippo bull standing out in the open by himself, perfect opportunity, and he presented the shot, and Ben smoked him, and what an epic way to take him.
Yeah, he was
There
really
you go.
excited. And,
Yeah.
he was just happy to be in Africa.
How proud were you of Mr. Ben there, Ralph?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he was sweating making the shots. Again, just like me.
Yeah.
That while you're waiting, even though some of the shots aren't difficult, but you don't want to mess up. So yeah, he was happy, and he did a great job, and shot some bigger animals than I shot. So,
and he did the right thing. He just kept pumping the lead to that thing. Hippo, they're on the water. If they get into the water wounded, obviously that to me looked like just an absolute brain shot. But what do they say, Keith? It's either the dead ones that get up and kill you, or the dead ones that get up and ramp the horizon, never to be seen again. So everybody played that well.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. So now, Ralph, it's, you got the hippos in the bag, but we're still on the river. Now you're about to go after what I tell people. They say, what's your favorite thing in Africa to hunt, Dave? And my answer is generally leopard, because I really enjoy the chess game that leopard provides, and the payoff is, I think, as good as it gets in my eyes. But they say, what's the most fun hunt in Africa? To me, and I'm probably in a minority, but it's absolutely the Nile crocodile. I'm absolutely crazy about hunting these literally living dinosaurs. So you're after a croc next.
You see the eye, the right eye? Yes. Okay, you're gonna come literally in minus eye, maybe just a little bit left, maybe half an inch. Ready? Take your time, squeeze the trigger. Reload in the neck. Shoulder. That'll do. Your shot is a bit low, hey?
I think I was right on the money.
Your first shot was too low.
Yeah, so and again, just like you said, you would think, like, just from watching different hunting shows or any kind of show, it looks like it's pretty easy. You just roll up on a giant croc and shoot it, but they're very wary to any kind of boats or even foot. They could feel the foot vibrations, which I didn't know that, and so they're very cautious, especially the older ones. So again, just like you said, yeah, I would definitely do another croc hunt. It was pretty exciting.
Well, you're generally hunting an animal that's older than the guy that's shooting it, and sometimes considerably older. And
Sure.
And boy, you found one right there.
And so we were, looking for older croc, and we were kind of watching this from a distance several times, and then we took another look at it and said, hey, that's bigger than we think it is. So then we parked the boat and did a little stalk and set up on some higher ground, and was able to get the croc. So it was fun. And I was just worried about it going in the water, because if it goes in that water, it's gone. So
Yeah.
I kind of paid triple, quadruple insurance, and Keith said, well, you might have messed up the mount a little, and then we said, we'll fix it. So it didn't go anywhere. So I was really happy with that. It was a great trophy.
Keith, how long was that croc? That's a 13-something foot croc, looks like.
13 and a half, Dave. It was a very nice croc.
Yeah. And I'm sure you told Ralph anytime a 13-foot croc anywhere in Africa is a big, big croc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, anything over 13 foot is a
Yeah.
from 13 on is a good croc.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Now, you were telling me, Ralph, that while everybody else ate lunch, you went over there and loaded the croc into the boat by yourself.
Yeah.
You just kind of heaved it. You just kind of heaved him in.
It almost sunk the boat too, and that's what people don't realize. Like some of the photos, looking back, when I got back home, I'm like, wow, that took up the whole boat. They're just huge and prehistoric, and yeah.
Yeah. What's that old line from that line from Jaws? We're going to need a bigger boat. I've had that thought myself before. Yeah, but that's getting the croc from point A to point B. I mean, that takes a lot of willing hands, and you guys we're showing some footage. We'll be showing some footage right here. But you guys got him back to camp, and what are you gonna do with your croc, Ralph? How are you gonna mount him?
I think I'm gonna take maybe like a shoulder mount and maybe put it into a table or do something kind of cool for the trophy room here. So,
well, you need to if you're thinking about doing that. I use the wildlife gallery up in Michigan, and I was trying to decide how I was going to mount a big crocodile I shot a few years back, but they had made a table, and it's got a glass top, that acrylic, and the croc's head, and there's lily pads and stuff in it, and this croc's head is right at the top of the water with just his eyes sticking out of the table. And I didn't get that. I mounted a really big croc life size, but I can tell you, I don't think I'm going to be satisfied in this life until I have a crocodile coffee table, because you really need to look at that. You can go on their website, the Wildlife Gallery, but that is one of the most exceptional mounts I've ever seen. And Dan said, the guy that ordered that, he said that's a conversation starter with everybody that comes to their house, wants to go over and have a beverage on the croc table. It's a pretty damn cool way to do it.
Yeah, because I met with because that's who I use.
Okay.
So I met with Shar when I was at Safari Club a couple weeks ago. And she's like, yeah, it's funny you said that. She's like, yeah, you have to do the coffee table. So
beautiful.
Good. Yeah.
Well, I tell people that all the time when they're saying, where am I going to put a 13-foot croc in my house? I say, I've got another idea, because it's what I'm going to do with the next one that I shoot, and the coffee table. So very good. So, well, look, I mean, guys, that was just, you nothing easy about even the easiest safaris, but that safari, Keith, as far as putting out a game plan and executing it, you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, that had to be about a 10.
100%. There was definitely a 10, Dave. I mean, from day one to the last day, everything's just lined up one for one, and no hiccups, fun, exciting, and just one of the best hunts I've had in a long time.
Well, Ralph, it has always been a pleasure to have you in camp and on safari, and I'm telling you, I wish I could have been on the ground for this safari, but I'm very grateful for you coming on today to Safari Classics TV and sharing this safari with not only myself, but everybody that's going to enjoy this just as much as I enjoyed watching you guys pull it off.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, and again, I have to give a shout out to Keith and his crew, because when it's, towards the end of the safari, it's now 105 degrees and I'm smoked, and it doesn't matter if it's going after a baboon or the lion, Keith's driving on and pushing you, and he's unstoppable. So I appreciate that. He's working hard for you, and we've always had great success, and he's a good friend of mine now, and we've stayed in touch, and he's my guy in Africa. So, and also, the part that I enjoy too, just like the time in camp, we had a great time. Like, yeah, it was stressful even when, until we got our main animals, but the whole time we had fun, even on the cruiser and with the cameraman Sean, it was fun, joking around, having a good time, but serious, and just seeing how magical Africa is. So it was a great experience that, I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So,
well, that's a voice of a veteran safari hunter passing on a golden piece of advice to people that may be planning their first safari. Yeah, it can be hard, and you're spending a bunch of money, you're investing your time, you're investing your capital, and certainly we all want to, I think human beings dream in the positive, where all of our dreams are fulfilled, and the kick goes through the uprights or the shot drops the elephant in his tracks, whatever you're dreaming about. But, Africa's, there's good days, there's better days, there's very, very tough days, but it all goes into making the fabric of the overall adventure. And a person is cheating themselves only when they don't try to have fun and look around and appreciate all the exciting things that Africa lays at your feet every single day.
Yeah, definitely the beauty. And even if it's somebody who doesn't hunt, and because I tell this to my wife, I said you have to come and experience Africa just to see that, we hunt in the U.S., turkey and white-tailed deer, but you just see that, different God's creation of all these animals that I never knew existed, and it's beautiful, and experiencing it like Nyakasanga wild, where we saw hundreds of elephants and like we saw the wild dogs. It is magical. It was a great experience.
Well, gentlemen, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you coming on today and sharing the adventure. And for those of you that you're tuning in, this is what we try to do. We talk about it all the time, but people always say that I like reality TV, and reality doesn't play a lot in a bunch of stuff, but this is reality. We show the safari experience, from start to finish. We show the good, we show the bad, we show the ugly, we show the bloody from time to time, but we try to always show it exactly as it happens. And for those of you that have been tuning in to us, for our whole team, I want to tell you thank you. We're working really, really hard on this digital series, and it's so much more than just a podcast. And I hope you agree that the video really brings the adventure to life. But for those of you that have tuned in, and it has been a bunch of you, for the people that saw us at the SEI show and said, God, we really, really love the new digital series, we say thank you. But if you're one of those people and you haven't yet, I'm going to ask you to do two things for me. Hit like and hit subscribe. That really helps us. And as we grow our channel, that really our numbers are growing. But if you're watching and you enjoy it, please take just 1 second to do that. And remember, if you sign up for the Safari Classics TV app, and that's where you're going to see everything. That's going to be the major, that is going to be the one-stop shop for everything safari. So if you enjoy what you're seeing here, there's 10 times more waiting for you on the app. And if you join an annual membership before March 31st, you're going to be in the running for what we're calling the Ultimate Buffalo Adventure, a 10-day buffalo hunt with all daily fees and trophy fees paid with Charlton McCallum Safaris. And that's coming up pretty quick. So get your app membership and enjoy us every week. Africa's at your fingertips 24/7. Appreciate you being involved today, and we'll see you here next week right here on Safari Classics TV.